There's a storm brewing as the Orange and Blue will try to ride it out to victory. We get you set for the Oilers and Hurricanes right here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the pregame show. Tom Gazzola live in the satellite studios in downtown Edmonton. Hernan Salas back at ESTHQ as we get you set for the Edmonton Oilers and the Carolina Hurricanes. First of two meetings this season between these two clubs. The Canes are continuing a 6-game road trip, the third of a 6-game road trip, and the Oilers begin a brief 2-game homestand. Edmonton will face Pittsburgh on Friday night. The Oil coming off a loss the other day in Dallas. They lost 4-1. However, they played pretty good for the first two periods, although the end result was not ideal. That's for sure. Meanwhile, the Canes coming off a 4-3 loss in St. Louis on Saturday night. Of course, we highly encourage that you join the conversation. Text us 780-218-9999 or get into the nasty chat. If you're watching on YouTube, what are you feeling going into this game? Are you nervous? Are you excited? Are you worried? We want to know. Let us know your thoughts for sure. Of course, GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors to fuel pumps and sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. We will get to game changers with Matt Cassian shortly, our game analyst. We had to pre-record it down at the morning skate today because Cass will be providing the jersey as he's a member of the Oilers alumni, although he has not played for the Oilers or did not play for the Oilers, but Cass doing a lot of great work with the alumni, so he will represent them today, giving the jersey to the military member, and that presentation will be happening during the game, so Cass is taking part in that. We did game changers earlier. We'll get to that shortly, and then we'll also go to my conversation with Canes reporter Hannah Yates, who is with the FanDuel Sports Network South that was recently unveiled yesterday, formerly Bally Sports Network, and they're now FanDuel Sports Network South. Today is their first broadcast under that banner. So Hannah and I joked about that a little bit. Great reporter, also does Atlanta Braves baseball. You will hear from her a little bit later on in the program. We'll get to the question of the night from the Latino Heat. He is back at ESTHQ, like I mentioned. And then right now we'll do starting lineups. And for the Oilers today, a little bit of a different look from them. We'll see McDavid between Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. Draisaitl back on his own line, centering Skinner and Arvidsson. Adam Henrique with Matthias Janmark and Connor Brown. And then Derek Ryan with Vasily Podkolzin and Corey Perry. I actually had that switched around. It should be Podkolzin with Henrique and Perry, and then Janmark with Ryan and Brown. I correct myself there. I put that in before we went to the morning skate. On defense tonight, Ekholm with Bouchard. It will be Travis Dermott on the left side and Darnell Nurse on the right. Then we'll see Kulak paired up with Stetcher. We will definitely get into Dermott on the left, paired up with Nurse on the right. That is a different look. Ty Emberson is the healthy scratch for the Oil in this one. As for the Carolina Hurricanes, Sebastian Aho between Andrei Svechnikov and Seth Jarvis, Jesperi Kotkaniemi with Jackson Blake, son of Jason Blake, and Martin Necas. And then Jordan Stahl between Jordan Martinook and William Carrier. Jack Drury with Jack Roslovic and Eric Robinson. On defense for the Canes, Jacob Slavin with Brent Burns, Shane Gostisbehere with Sean Walker, and then Dmitry Orlov, third pairing with Jalen Chatfield. Ty Smith expected to be the lone man out for the Canes. In goal tonight for the Oilers, 25-year-old Stuart Skinner, 1-3 this season, 403 goals against average, .851 save percentage in 4 appearances this year. Skinner versus the Canes, 1-1 record, 401 goals against average, .902 save percentage in 2 appearances versus Carolina. And then at the other end of the rink, it will be 35-year-old Freddie Anderson. He is 1-1 this season, a .153 GAA, a .936 save percentage in his 2 appearances. Anderson's numbers against the Oilers are staggering. 17 wins, 2 losses, 2 overtime losses, with a 230 GAA, 924 save percentage in his 22 career games against Edmonton. So Freddie Anderson, the 35-year-old, has had his field day with the Oilers. Obviously, a lot of those wins coming during his time as a starting netminder for the Anaheim Ducks when they were winning all those Pacific Division titles, and Freddie Anderson was tending twine there. That leads us to our Advantage Sports Medicine Injury Report. At Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy, we treat you like the pros. Our multidisciplinary team includes sports medicine physicians, along with highly skilled physiotherapists, strength and conditioning coaches, and massage therapists. Whether you're recovering from an injury or looking to enhance performance, we treat you like a pro using the same locker room approach, trusted by the best in the game. For the Edmonton Oilers tonight, Evander Kane, LTIR, abdominal surgery. And although he was on the ice today for the morning skate, Roby Järventie, he is on the IR with a knee injury that he is rehabbing from knee surgery, suffered it last year in his time in the Ottawa Senators organization, but a good sign for the prospect that the Oilers traded for, giving up Xavier Bourgault and Tyler Tullio. Järventie skating in the morning skate, just getting up to speed as he rehabs that knee that was rebuilt in the offseason. As for the Carolina Hurricanes, Riley Stillman on the IR, lower body. Jesper Fast, IR with a neck issue. So there you go. That is your Advantage Sports Medicine Injury Report. Do we have Hernan Salas? I know, Hernan, you had a bunch of stuff to get to. Quick turnover from the Reed Wilkins Show. If you're available, come on, pal. Hope you're doing all right. It is a busy.
Oh, what's going on?
Hey, oh my goodness. Frozen Frenzy in the NHL. 16 games, Dan. So I was watching the Caps and the Flyers, watched a couple of back and forth 4-on-4 goals. And yeah, it's been a busy day in the hockey world. How you doing tonight, pal?
I'm good. Yeah, we did a 15 game parlay with the boys on ESC afternoons. Yeah, I think we're 0 for 4 so far. So,
all right.
Yeah, it hasn't gone very well for us. But yeah, looking forward to this game. We talked to Corey Lavalette from Carolina there. And yeah, he said this team is the same as it's been for the last few years, Tom. Every line the whole team looks similar, right? They all play the same way. You know, Rod the Bod's got them playing the right way. So it's going to be an interesting game. The Oilers had some success last year. They blew them out here in Edmonton, but it's been mostly Carolina dominating the series. So I'm intrigued, and we're going to get to it. And I'm sure you and Cass, with what you guys shot, you're going to talk about some of the big lineup changes. There's one big one that I don't know if we want to get to now. We can wait. But yeah, I'm intrigued by this game, and I think it's going to come down to goaltending. I think Skinner has to outduel Freddie Anderson, and then the special teams. One of them's got to turn it around here quick.
Yeah, the Oilers special teams absolutely atrocious. The Canes pretty darn good. And if you're going, well, what are the numbers, Tom? Well, you know that the Oilers on the power play are 1 for 15 this season. That is atrocious. 30th in the NHL. Two teams going into action tonight had not scored on the power play. 6.7% will not cut it through 6 games. On the penalty kill, Edmonton dead last in the NHL with a 55% efficiency rate on the kill. The Hurricanes, meanwhile, 9th in the NHL on the power play, 3 for 12. That's good for 25%. And then on the PK, 12th right now at 83.3%. So it is early, yes, but the Oilers power play has not been good, and the PK not much better thus far. So there you go. Nanso, do you want to throw up the question of the night and talk about the lineup shuffle, or how do you want to go about this?
Yeah, no, we can do both, I guess. It's the Darnell Nurse surprises me a bit. I'm intrigued by, putting Enrique with Perry and Podkolzin. And it doesn't really, all I want to see, Tom, I want to see these lines stick together. That's all I want. For the full game, I don't care what the score is. Just keep it rolling the way it is. Let them build something here. And then Nurse is the big one on the right side. We'll see how long that lasts, Tom. We've seen this song and dance before with other players, but we gotta start. What's it called? Finding a solution there. And I don't know if that's the solution. I'm gonna stay positive and say maybe this is what Darnell needed. Maybe he's been the right side guy this whole time, and right. So that's what I'm gonna base it on. But the question of the night, it's a simple one, and it's the big one: is are you confident in Darnell Nurse moving to the right side for the Edmonton Oilers tonight? It's simple. Yes or no. What concerns you? Or is this just going to be like a one-shift thing, couple of shifts, and then boom, Dermott, you're back to the right, and Darnell, you're back to the left? Tommy, what do you make of this move?
I find it odd. I was very surprised. We were kind of watching at the morning skate. We're like, is Darnell on the right side on purpose, or was it a mistake? Then he'd go through the next rotation on the right side, then the next rotation on the right side. And finally, Reed and I looked at each other. We're like, no, he is playing the right side. And then even Chris Knobloch today talked about it. He's like, yep, he's going to see some shifts on the right side. And that tells me that he's going to be moved around a little bit. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Is it going to throw him off? How many shifts is he going to be playing on the right side? Will it be a good thing? I just, you know what? I'll be positive about it this way. I don't think it's going to make a lot of difference.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny, Tom? You guys were all at practice and everybody's sending out the lines, and then we're all like, wait. Did they just put him there just because they made a mistake? And then we started noticing the theme, and we're like, nope, this is right. It's Darnell on the right. And then it all became true. But at the time, we're all like, no, they must have just did a mistake there. There's no way they're doing this.
We were like, wait at the rink too. So it was something that threw us off. And certainly we'll see how it goes, as Darnell Nurse is expected to at least start the game on the right side, with Travis Dermott playing the left side on the Oilers' second pair on the blue line. So question of the night, again, Hernan, what is it? Simply, is it going to work or is it not going to work? Is that what it was?
Yeah. Are you confident in the move to move Darnell into the right side? And Tom, can I ask you this?
Sure.
Why I get why, but does this make any sense to you that after all these years, at 29 years old, you're going to try him now on the right side, Darnell Nurse?
The answer to that would be no from me, unless they just don't have the faith in Dermott playing on the right side. Dermott's last game wasn't particularly good, and he was paired up with Nurse, if I recall correctly. So maybe they're trying that pairing, but switching it up to see if Darnell can handle it better and Dermott's more comfortable on the left. It's weird. I have not seen that. I think it's less a Darnell thing and more a Dermott thing.
Oh,
more that I think about it.
But to me, see, that's where I'm intrigued, because you brought in Dermott on a PTO because he can play both sides. He's played 2-3 games, whatever it's been, and he's played on the right side. So now you're like, well, maybe he can't. I'd rather play a guy there that's been there and tried it and done it a few times and looked decent instead of a guy that's never done it.
I agree. That's why I find it odd. And I suppose Knobloch's answer to you're going to see him on a few shifts playing the right side doesn't tell me that he's overly committed to running with this for an extended period of time, let alone more than maybe a period or two. I don't know. It all depends on how the game goes. And what if it works out? Well, great. What if the Oilers play solid defense against a pretty good Canes team? Then maybe they run with it for a little bit. But I find it odd, like many people.
Do you think a lot's been made about Stuart Skinner, 30th in save percentage, but the Oilers are also, I think, might be dead last in goals for. Are you at all concerned with Stewie Skin's slow start here? I know, Tom, we like to overreact here. We're 6 games in, and even our Carolina reporter today said, he goes, I'm sure everything's fine. Kind of mocking us, and we're like, no, it's already in panic mode. But what have you made of Stuart Skinner? I've thought he's shown some good glimpses, but still, you look at the stats and you're like, whoa, that's not good enough. So Should there be concern? Because he started slow last year too. And I know things are not going to be exactly the same as last year, Tom.
I know.
But are you okay so far with where Stuart Skinner's at?
Overall, it's not good. And the numbers obviously highlight that. But am I comfortable with or confident thinking he will hone it in? Yes. Like,
okay.
The game against, what did he play? He played against Calgary. I thought he held them in there and was one of the reasons why they had a chance in that game.
Yeah.
Philadelphia, the first Michkov goal I didn't love. The second one, we debated whether or not that was a skill goal or was it Skinner with a bad 5-hole goal from a bad angle. And then the third goal on that night, that was Matthias Ekholm putting it home past his own goalie on a redirection right in front of him. He's let 3 goals in his last 3 starts, and I actually think in those starts he's been good. And I'll say that he's really good against Calgary, pretty good against Philly, and then didn't see a lot of work for the majority of the Dallas game, and then the Stars got a couple on him. I understand like the not catching the Duchesne shot. But I don't think Stuart Skinner is the reason why Edmonton is 2-4. That nobody was good in that first game.
Is that fair?
Yeah, I think he would be a small part of it. I think he was the reason why they were in there in that first win of the season against Philly. He kept them in there, held the fort, and then I think he's the reason why the Oilers were sniffing around against the Flames for a little bit, even though the team in front of Skinner wasn't particularly good. And then maybe the other night, not great, but I think he's going to be just fine. And 4 starts into the season, I'm not panicking about Stuart Skinner.
Tom, it took we're going into the 7th game, and it took 7 games for our first message to fire Dustin Schwartz to come in from X-Ray J. All right, team.
Well, X-Ray J's been saying that every X-Ray J. Like, I love X-Ray J, but if you think that Dustin Schwartz is the reason they're not winning, it's a bit silly. And I love you, X-Ray J, but Dustin Schwartz works with a lot of good NHL goalies. I would put the focus on the Oilers' 5-man unit in front of their goaltenders this year not being good. Very, very sloppy at times.
Yeah.
And Dustin Schwartz, although maybe he's not the ideal goalie coach for some people in this city. He's not the reason why this team is coming out of the gates struggling. And Stu Skinner, again, Calder finalist, all-star, and taking his team to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup final in 2 full NHL seasons. I'd say that's pretty good.
Yeah, we got to stop going that route here. It's at the end of the day, your goalie's got to play better. You can't. Yeah. When Stuart Skinner has success, is it all Dustin Schwartz then? You can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
Right? Well, it's got to go both ways, is what I'm trying to say. You can't just blame the goalie coach when he's crappy and then not give him any credit when he's good. That's just not fair.
X-Ray J says the goaltending over the past 10-plus years has been suboptimal.
Because they haven't had good goalies.
They've had terrible teams. I always bring it back to this. Like Devin Dubnyk.
Yeah.
Devin Dubnyk had Freddie Chabot as his goalie coach, right? Dubnyk basically was out of the league by the time he was traded to the Montreal Canadiens. He left the Habs organization. I think his first child was born at that time, and he just needed a mental reset. And then he went to the Coyotes, worked with Sean Burke, worked alongside Mike Smith, and refound his game. And then wound up in Minnesota and ended up being an all-star 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
And you know who his goalie coach was in Minnesota? Freddie Chabot. And I remember people saying, Fred Chabot needs to be fired. And they fired him here. It's not the goalies, or the goalie coach is a scapegoat.
Yeah.
And we've seen it. So, Cam Talbot had an excellent 16-17 campaign here. Mike Smith, as wild and as much of a fluctuation as there was in his game, ended up with some decent seasons. And even Mikko Koskinen, there was a guy that I thought was inconsistent. They managed to get him to play decent hockey for small spurts at a time. So I don't know. Dubnyk, to me, is the best example. Like, Cam Talbot was an all-star last year. He's still in the league. Like, Detroit's been using him this year. So,
But that's what I mean. And it's listen. All I'm gonna say is Stuart Skinner doesn't have a good night. Tommy, we're gonna take it on the chin. Hungover man in GP says 25 makes the same mistakes every game. Coach has to play him because core and salary. He's uncoachable. Coach stuck. Team will not win with 25.
okay. I mean,
You're not buying it, eh,
they've
Tommy?
made the Cup final, game 7 again. Second round, lost to the eventual Cup champions in Vegas. And then the year prior, they went to the conference final and lost to the eventual Cup champions with the Avalanche. I'd say they can win with Darnell Nurse. They finished second in the division like 5 years in a row.
And Nurse, it's for the outside of the first 3 games. I think he's playing better, and that's why I was a little disappointed that they took Stetcher away, because I thought that pairing was at least decent in the latest games. So we'll see what happens with Dermott today, but I'm not gonna hold my breath. I think we'll see Nurse on the left side more than the right. I think Coach is just playing games with all of us, Tommy.
Maybe he might be. Let's see what our game analyst Matt Cassian has to say as him and I recorded Game Changers earlier down at Rogers Place. Nanso, let's roll it. On location at Rogers Place, it is Game Changers, brought to you as always by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. Damon Bunting, one of the top-selling Remax realtors in Greater Edmonton and across Western Canada. Cass, and if you're looking to buy or sell your home, visit DamonBunting.com or check them out on Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. The Oilers and the Carolina Hurricanes, Edmonton coming off a 1-1 road trip. They get the win in Nashville. They lose in Dallas. Hard-fought game in Dallas, but ultimately the Stars get the better of them. From what you saw over the road trip, before we dive into the 3 points and Game Changers, what did you take away from the Oil?
Yeah, well, I took away that they did some good things. Now, you played a really good team in the Dallas Stars that executed well, and you executed well at times too. Run into some good goaltending. Yep. You don't want to say that Ottinger stole the show, but in some ways he did. The phrase "getting goalied," you hear that often.
I hate it.
I hate it. I still think you have to work for those opportunities. Yeah. Maybe a little bit more around the net could have been generated for secondary opportunities, but overall it was a solid game Edmonton played. They get a chance close to the end to work their way back into it. Doesn't quite happen. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, they get the loss, but it's one of those games where you're looking at the Dallas Stars going, this is a really good team. Yeah. And you can play good games against good teams. Sometimes you're going to lose. Now, hopefully, from a video standpoint, from a coaching standpoint, you're pulling enough away from it that you are able to reset against another good team in the Carolina Hurricanes tonight. You're able to get out, execute, get even more pucks to the net, more bodies to the net, try to generate some goals on Freddie Anderson that is playing absolutely lights out. All
right, the Canes 2-2 this season, the Oilers 2-4. Number 1 on Game Changers tonight, Darnell Nurse on the right side, Cass.
On the right side. So it looks like Darnell Nurse is going to get some shifts on the right side of the ice. Now, we haven't seen too much of this, maybe a smattering here or there, but it's just going to be an interesting look. Now, we haven't seen Darnell Nurse completely comfortable with any of the players he's played with yet this year. There have been flashes. Stetcher had some moments where they looked solid together, and then some moments where maybe not. Now, Emberson, same thing. Some moments where they were good, some moments when they were not. So you're going to get a little bit of a different look. They're going to try Darnell out on that side. He's talked about wanting to focus on some of the simple things in his game, which I would say we've seen a little bit of. Darnell, I would agree, has been improving a little bit over the course of the year from the start of the year till now, which I guess is natural based that he didn't have a full training camp and only a couple exhibition games, but it's going to be a different look. And over the course of his career, we haven't seen him on the right side that often. So Tom, a different look for Darnell tonight, and we'll see what we get.
Can I follow up on this? Darnell Nurse on the right side, point number 1 of Game Changers. Why?
To try to find something that works.
Yeah.
Right, you're trying to find something that works, and maybe because you haven't tried it before.
Fair.
Right, you're saying, okay, if we're trying to simplify his game, one of the ways that we can do that maybe is to put him on the right side. It does open up the offense in the offensive zone a little bit, having, being able to rotate your top hand or your bottom hand away from your body. Now, in the defensive zone, it can make things more challenging when you're trying to quick up pucks, because if you're spinning to the outside of the ice, you're on your backhand as opposed to your forehand. But they want to see what it looks like. And again, as to the why, maybe we'll find out tonight.
They're trying something, experimenting with Darnell Nurse on the right side. That's point number 1 of game changers. Point number 2, and everybody's saying yes, power play breakthrough. Cass, 1 goal this season on 15 attempts.
Yep, just have to execute. Just have to execute. There's been, really since game number 2 in the season, a lot of talk about, it looks like everyone's figured it out. It looks like other teams know what they're doing. It looks like. And I still just think you're not going to change, nor should you change anything that dramatically on the power play. It's too good a power play. Your players are too good at executing when they are executing. Now, the trick is you have to actually go out and do that execution. They have too many options when they're moving the puck well, when they're making good decisions. Teams can't keep up with it. Now, if you're just force feeding the same thing over and over and over again, well, yeah, it's not going to work. If you're not clean on your entries, yeah, it's not going to work. So I don't think, and I would agree with the ultimate coaching staff communication from the Edmonton Oilers, that they don't need to really change anything. They just need to execute, Tom. Another opportunity to do it today, and at some point the puck's going to start going in for this power play, and at some point they're going to pick up momentum and start winning them hockey games.
Hard to move away from a power play that's been so efficient over the last 4 or 5 years with the type of players that are on there. We've seen suggestions from fans, maybe people in the media like ourselves talk about it. How about getting some personnel swaps in there? We've heard, hey, get Jeff Skinner in there because Jeff Skinner is playing good to start the season. What about Corey Perry? He's been one of Edmonton's best forwards so far this season. To those people, you would say what? I know you'd probably point to how good those guys are, but to switch out guys from power play 2 into power play 1, why would you refrain from that?
Well, Zach Hyman had how many goals last year, Tom?
54.
So why are you going to move him out? And I know he hasn't found a way to put the puck in the net. You're not going to switch him out. Right. He's a 50-goal guy. Again, they've generated some opportunity in the power play, and the puck hasn't gone in. Now, the one I would say, okay, I could think about it, would be the Jeff Skinner, maybe for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins on that side. Okay. Is that a look where maybe you could try something slightly different? Maybe a little bit more of a shooting threat there? Maybe. Maybe you could do that. But overall, Tom, it just doesn't need to switch. And I know that drives some people crazy, but it's like, I used this point on the pre and post game show before, but with the Washington Capitals and Alexander Ovechkin, he's been doing the same thing for 10 years.
Correct.
And they've had a good power play for 10 years. Now he's slowed down a little bit. I understand that. He doesn't have Backstrom dishing pucks to him like he used to, but you knew back when I was playing exactly what the Washington Capitals power play was. It was feed Ovi the one-timer. You knew it, and they continue to have one of the best power plays in the league. Everyone knew what they were doing. It's the execution, because you have 5 guys, the other team has 4. If the Edmonton Oilers execute, you don't need to make any personnel changes. The puck will start going in.
It is Game Changers with Matt Cassian, our game analyst. Game Changers is always brought to you by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. Number 1 was Darnell Nurse on the right side. Number 2, power play breakthrough. Number 3, Cass, Carolina, man.
Yeah, one of the few teams that tries to play a modified man-on-man coverage. Now, I say modified because it's not true, pure man-on-man coverage. I don't think any teams truly do that anymore, but they do play a little bit more man-on-man in the defensive zone. Now, they have the defensemen where they're able to do that. Really mobile. When Orlov's on your third pairing, you have a steady defense. And that has shown up in their goals against so far this season, where they have played incredibly solid defensively. Now, they haven't maybe produced as much offense as they'd like, but they've produced a steady, stable defense anchored by Freddie Anderson. Now, for the Edmonton Oilers, what that means is you're going to have to find a way to get to the middle of the ice. You're going to have to find a way to move the puck through the middle of the ice. So that means not getting trapped on one side, being able to either at the blue line, behind the net, exchange the puck side to side, force everybody to move. The second that you do that and you have people crossing over, it becomes much more difficult to track as a defender, to make sure you make the right reads as a defender, and to switch. So for the Edmonton Oilers, moving that puck side to side, getting bodies and the puck eventually to the middle of the ice to generate opportunities is going to be huge.
Cass, as a whole, this Carolina team, I've said it on the air before, I feel like their window might be closing. I know they brought Rod Brindamore back. They're very analytically driven. We have our opinions on that, obviously. How do you look at this Carolina Hurricanes team as a whole right now?
Well, they're still a very good team. You still look and say, okay, are they one offensive piece away from being where they need to be? Now they got some good young players. They have Sebastian Aho. They have Seth Jarvis, who's signed a really nice contract for him, and I think for the Carolina Hurricanes heading into camp. Defensively, as we just mentioned, they're rock solid. If Freddie Anderson is healthy, he's a good goaltender. So they have a lot of the pieces there. You just look at this team and say, okay, do they have the offensive punch to quite get them there that extra step? Because they are a challenger, most definitely are a challenger, still in that window, but they may need to look at bringing in one piece, maybe two more pieces to really give them the offensive oomph they need to be a legitimate heavyweight Stanley Cup contender.
Cass, we've done Game Changers on location at Rogers Place before, but what do you got going on tonight that we're recording it today instead of doing it live tonight?
Yeah, helping out with the Oilers alumni, a little bit of a presentation tonight, and we'll be bringing my daughter to her first NHL game. So it'll be dual daddy business tonight. So I was like, well, I want to make sure that she's here and having fun. So
that'll be great. Cass, this was an excellent edition of Game Changers, as always brought to you by Damon Bunting, Remax Elite. There you go. That was myself and Matt Cassian earlier in the day, at Rogers Place. We are live, myself, Tom Gazzola, and Hernan Salas on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. That was the Damon Bunting Remax Elite Game Changers. Nurse on the right side, power play breakthrough, Carolina, man. Nanso, what did you think of what Cass had to say there?
Yeah, I mean, Cass always brings it. He's very detailed. What I like about Cass is like it's rational, but he can get spicy too. But he's talking us off the ledge a bit,
Right.
And listen, I think we've all said it throughout the shows today, Tommy, that they got to be ready to go against this team. Like this team, we know how they play. And yes, I don't know if I can't stand it, but it bothers me when people bring up last year. Like, it doesn't matter what happened last year in Edmonton. It doesn't, Tom. They're two different teams. Two completely different teams, right? Like, sure, you can look back and see what worked and all that, but I don't think the Oilers are going to roll in here and win. Well, they might win 6-1, but every year is new. I think every game's different. So, and for me, it's going to come down to goaltending and the special teams once again. And I really hope Coach K can stick with the four lines and just let them roll through and fight through whatever they're fighting through, and hopefully find some success and some chemistry, especially for that second line.
Nancy, you talk about them coming out of the gates ready to go. They were on Saturday. They had a good, but that's what I'm leading to is we saw a lot of negativity in the last couple of days since that game. We saw it on the post-game show. We do know we get those fans of the team that go, they're never going to win. They can't win with this guy. They can't win with that guy. This goalie's this and this goalie's that. And then they end up being like a rock solid team the rest of the way and get everybody's faith back and everyone loves the team again. But that game the other day, do you think people jumping on them and going negative with them is a little bit premature considering they did have a good start? No, the special teams were not particularly good, but there were some elements of that game against a very good Dallas Stars team that the Oilers were excellent at.
If you can't find anything good from that game on Saturday, then I think you're just piling on at this point. Like, you just want to see this team do bad, because the first 38 minutes, the Edmonton Oilers should have been up 3-0, possibly even more, but they couldn't find the goal. Ottinger was very solid. The Oilers defensively, Dallas had 4 shots 30 minutes into the game, Tom. Like, you can't play better than that. Yes, the wheels fell off. The power play goal was unacceptable off the faceoff. Enrique kind of goes inside real quick, then tries to get outside, can't get there. Skinner should have that one, sure. Then the second goal, a fumble at the blue line by Evan Bouchard. Ekholm kind of tries to, compensate for his partner. It doesn't stay with his guy. McDavid's kind of late coming back. So the wheels fell off, and I understand the frustration, but there is a lot of good. I think this team 5-on-5 is getting better and better. They played really well in Nashville 5-on-5. and they played for 38 minutes really well against one of the best teams in the league in Dallas. And when I say the best team in the league, I think the Oilers should be up there. They're not right now, but they should. So I think if you can't find anything good, then you're just piling on. It's low hanging fruit. Like, find the good. Yes, there's a lot to work on this team. The decor is not sexy. The special teams are awful right now. Goaltending's not good. We get it, but there is good stuff here, guys.
Yeah, that's well said. Let's go to the inbox, 780-218-9999. Also get into the nasty chat. Let's go to Big Uke, who texts in regard to Darnell Nurse playing on the right side, or supposed to start on the right side with Travis Dermott today. Big Uke says, Nurse on the opposite side may be weird, but he's a professional NHLer, and he should be able to make it work. I'm intrigued to see if anything real positive or negative happens. I imagine he will make a couple good plays, ice 3 or 4 on bad passes, and lay down on his belly no matter what side he should be on.
Jeez.
Big U. Oh, nailed it. Nailed it. JCD780 has, I've never seen the resale market value for tickets this low before. What are they at, JCDC780? I don't see a photo, and I'm assuming it has to do with the slow start, expensive prices in general, and then the fact that it's Carolina on a Tuesday night. Plus, there's been a ton of events and stuff in the last few weeks, whether busy. It's been like going to the late summer portion, there was stuff at Commonwealth, Pink, Metallica. We just had the Canadian Finals Rodeo back in Edmonton again at Rogers Place. The concerts, comedian Sebastian Maniscalco was there. There was a couple concerts. We've had Oilers games, Oil Kings games. Man, there's been like a ton of things going on trying to pull your buck. And I could understand maybe some of the general malaise and unwillingness to spend big bucks for a Canes game on a Tuesday night when the team isn't playing sexy hockey right now, as Hernan put it. Donnie M.
The new word, man.
That's a good word. I like it. Donnie M says, Hernan, where can I get that lid? Old style Esks B's best logo. I have that hat too. Yes. And it is a really good one. Do they still sell it, or has it been sold? Because it was the Turf Traditions from last year, I think, going into the Labor Day game.
That is correct, Tom. I'd have to inquire, but I know Matty Iwanek Engager asked me for one today. I'm going to see if I can work my magic down at with my old compadres there at the Edmonton Elks. But it is a solid lid. And the year before, it was the all kind of like a cream color.
I have that one too.
And then this year's is pretty nice too. Maybe I'll wear that one tomorrow. But yeah, it's the Turf Tradition stuff that the Elks have put out, or the CFL or whatever, has been really, really nice the last 3 years.
I agree. I do. That one is the chef's kiss for sure. Yeah. And I will be on the sidelines for the final game of the season on Friday night. It's going to be you and Trev. I'm going to be cold. Yeah. You guys have the pre and post game show. I'll be on the broadcast.
Can you do a hit from the sideline on Commonwealth Stadium?
I'll do whatever you want, Hernan. Whatever you want.
That would be amazing. You and Dusty live from Commonwealth.
Right? Popping into the show. What happened?
Yeah.
All right, let's see. There was a couple more texts here. Matt Hyman wants to know, is my on-air light always on, or when do I actually turn it on or off? It's just on when I'm on. That's how I do it. LaDuke Aaron says, I've never seen prices so low on Fans First. Upper bowl, $49 starting at, looks like. Lower bowl starting at 85, premium 120. Yeah, that's the secondary resale market, right? So interesting. And then JCD 7080 has the same thing. Yeah, I think it's a combination of stuff. So take advantage if you want to go to a game. All right, 780-218-9999. I'm going to get to some more texts. We went over the lineups. I do need to mention that portions of this hour brought to you by our good friends over at Hudson's, Canada's Pub. You're invited to watch the game tonight, obviously, and then be sure to check out Wing Wednesday tomorrow. And they do have their $5 house draft featuring the new Blueberry Blonde Ale. Book your reservation now at hudsonscanadaspub.com. Or just head on down White Avenue and Bourbon Street. We had a great time at Bourbon Street on Saturday, White Avenue last week, and lots of people were there, Hernan included, and that was a fantastic Saturday, despite the end result from the Oilers and Stars game. But a great vibe and lots of fantastic game day specials available. They do all-day happy hours as well, and the food I thought was great. I had a quesadilla with the chicken thai soup and the blueberry blonde ale myself and VR Montenegro had at White Avenue last week, and we both loved it. I think VR Montenegro had like 3. I had my 1, and I was good, but very tasty indeed. Nat, so what were you having when you were there? Just 6 o'clock or lager?
No, I had the house beer, and then I just had my traditional hot wings for lunch.
Yes. They do have 6 o'clock or lager at both locations, can form and Birdie Booze as well. Hudson's, Canada's Pub. Great to be on board with them again. This weekend, we're going to be at Boston Pizza Westgate on Sunday, and I think again on Halloween, I believe. I'll have to double check that. But we're going to be live on location quite a bit to wrap up the month of October. All right. We did have a chance to catch up with Canes reporter Hannah Yates from the newly minted FanDuel Sports Network South, formerly known as Bali South. And here's my conversation with Hannah from Rogers Place. Joined now by Hannah Yates from the FanDuel Sports Network, covering the Carolina Hurricanes christened today. Hannah, tell us about this a little bit.
Just in terms of everything today?
Yeah, you said you had a busy day because now it's a new network name and everything?
Everything is changing. It is a new... Pretty much everything's the same besides it's just a new network. Right. So we're just learning all of the ins and outs of some of the subtle changes, but excited to be here in Canada. It's been a long trip, but it's been an exciting day for everyone. 6-gamer for the Canes. We had the same thing last year going from our old station to our new one, so I know what you're going through. Good luck with the reads. You're going to be just fine. You're a pro. Okay, so let's talk about this road trip for the Carolina Hurricanes. Starts in Pitt, goes to St. Louis. It comes here to Canada. You guys are going to be in Calgary soon, then Seattle, then Vancouver. What's been going on this trip, this team 2-2 right now? This group got off to a really fantastic start against Pittsburgh. They were able to hold no shots on net to Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin. Everything was solid across the board in that game. Then it was their first real big test with back-to-backs. It was kind of just, it's always hard with those trips, as you know. And so they dropped it in St. Louis. Had a strong first and third period, but it was just tough in the second. So they're looking to rebound here today. It's our longest one of the year because it's the North Carolina State Fair in Raleigh. So I always get shipped out to start the season right. 2 weeks on the road. Of course it's the North Carolina State Fair. I knew that. No, I'm just kidding. All right, how about this team here in Edmonton? We're talking about the special teams. Big-time struggles. Power play can't score, just 1 for 15. Penalty kill is at a whopping 55%, 32nd in the league. How about the Carolina Hurricanes, Hannah? It's been a different story, and I'm not trying to make that sound like I'm not trying to rub it into Oilers' faces, but it has been a positive for the Canes. They've been a top 3 in the power play and the PK to end last season. PK's been one of their strong suit for really the last 5 seasons in entirety, and so they've gone 9 for 9 in their last, and the power play has been solid. Shane Gostisbehere is a new addition. He's been quarterbacking the first power play unit. He's made a really big difference there. Rob Brind'Amour's actually moved some of the pieces around, so Sebastian Aho going from bumper to flank, a lot of different things happening. They've been able to capitalize. How about the loss of a guy like Teuvo Teravainen, who I know is a big part of this team? This is still a good team. The roster is nice, and there's been some turnover, too, with some of these young guys, right? Right, and that's why you're seeing some of the changes. So there were 5 new additions, not including the rookie Jackson Blake. So you're seeing different players step up. Jack Roslovic has 2 goals already this season. He stepped up on a line that maybe Teuvo Teravainen would have been on. He had played with Marty Necas and Jesperi Kokoniemi. So you have him stepping up, but you're seeing all of these pieces move around as they get started. How's Jordan Martinek doing? He's the local product around here. Can you tell us about? He's just a wily, good, steady veteran. Am I giving him the love he deserves? Yeah, he's one of the best. He had some family members here at Morning Skate who still live in town. Yes. All the kids are so excited to get a puck. They love coming here. He's doing great, and he is one of the hardest working players. He's one of the heart and souls of this team. Right. Plays alongside Jordan Stahl and William Carrier, so very solid, wily veteran time. Just with that line in general, having a lot of cup win experience with Stahl and Carrier as well. So very hard-working, hard forechecking line.
Yeah, we have Hannah Yates joining us now from the FanDuel Sports Network.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's a lot. But I wanted to ask you about the goaltending, Hannah. And Freddie Anderson, veteran guy, 35 years of age. Kochetkov, am I saying it right? I know there's some Canes fans here that are like, no, there's a different way to say it. What are we seeing from the goaltenders? Because I know Anderson during the playoffs last year, there was a time where he needed a little bit of rest, was it?
Correct. Well, he missed a large majority of the season due to a blood clotting issue, so it was really intense. He was able to come back, luckily, has been healthy since, has been able to sustain all of that. We weren't sure entering this season if they were going to still go with the goalie rotation like what they did last year. They had a 3-goalie rotation last year, and so right now they are going. It's been every other game they've switched, and right now that's the game plan, just in terms of they want both goaltenders to be able to play, to be able to contribute, and Freddie Anderson's done really well against this team, 17-2-2 in his career against the Oilers, and so he'll get the start tonight.
Yeah, he had a good time against them when he was playing for Anaheim. I remember those days vividly. Okay, how do they stop Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, who are on their own lines tonight?
Yeah, it's tough. Obviously, that's the question of the century, perhaps, with these two players. I had a conversation with Jacob Slavin, who will be up to the task alongside Brent Burns to really handle those two. And he said, listen, there's no set game plan. You know, you can't plan accordingly for those players, but you have to be fast. You have to be able to limit those opportunities. He said, I asked Jacob Slavin the one thing that stands out about Connor McDavid. He said, I think he's going one way, and you have to be on your toes because he's going to switch direction immediately. So it's just being on their toes the whole time.
Okay, we'll see if the Canes can defend McDavid and Draisaitl. If they can break out, we shall see. I know Oiler fans are looking forward to that. Hannah, have a great broadcast on the FanDuel Sports Network. Did I get it?
Yeah, that was perfect.
See, even I'm catching on to it now. Thank you for
practice too.
Yeah, you're going to be just fine. Appreciate the time. Have a great broadcast, and we'll talk to you again. I think these two teams lock horns again in March.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
There you go. Hannah Yates, FanDuel Sports Network. Just rolls right off the tongue. Really easy to say. She's fantastic. She will be on the Canes broadcast tonight. I see you, nasty chat. You being nasty. She's a nice girl. All right, Hernan, what'd you take away from what Hannah had to say?
Yeah, no, that was great. You travels with the Canes, obviously?
She travels with the Canes.
Wow. Yeah. No, it's pretty much what we heard today with Corey Lavalette as well. Just great stuff there. Good job, Tommy, down there today. It was kind of cool. We kind of changed it up this time around. Like you were doing them. It's cool when you do them from the rink like that. It was it's a little bit different, and you are getting chirped hardcore on the nasty chat right now for getting until he got her name wrong. Oh no, you got the title wrong.
I got the name of the new network that literally launches today.
Oh, people have no chill here with Tommy.
I know. That's okay. It's all good. Tommy was not shook. All right, let's get to some final thoughts here. Rowdy Roddy texting in says, the Oilers need this win. Going to be a big momentum swing either way. Great show. Niners season over, Hernan. My 49ers brother,
Jeez.
Rowdy Roddy.
It's not over yet, boys.
Big Cardinals win yesterday over the Chargers. I'll take that on the last second field goal. Scalding Gord says Oilers win 5-1 or Tommy's buying coffee. Justin says, Tommy, missed you at practice yesterday. I went with my daughter, was going to introduce myself. Yeah, Justin, I was in studio. Maddie Awanik was still on days off, so I was in on the hangout. And who do you usually get from beat reporters when they come to town? I get whoever is a friend, and I like to get new voices that we don't see and hear all the time. So there is a rhyme and reason. Like we have our regulars, Hernan, right?
Yeah.
That we go around the league with. And I like, there's been like a new influx of reporters around the league. And I like to get to know them and also try to get them on our broadcast. And I think vice versa too. Like I did Canes radio this morning.
Really?
So yeah, I did Carolina radio, and it's kind of like a mutual thing. It's like, yeah, you want to come on my show? Yeah, I'll come on your show. And that's what I like to do. I know we know a lot of the old guard in the league, and it's kind of nice to introduce people to some of the new faces and voices around the NHL. That's kind of how I look at it.
Oh, 100%. And just getting back into this groove of things too, Tom. Yeah, finding, because they all kind of shift around. Sometimes they get sent to other markets and all that. So it's always good to have fresh faces, fresh voices on the pre and post game show. So it's good, man. Good job today.
Thanks. You know what? Matthew Iwanek, he got my mic working again. I got a new phone that has a new thing, new chip in it that didn't work with the old microphone. And we figured it all out. Now it works like a charm. It took a few weeks, but Iwanek, being the troubleshooter that he is, managed to get it all sorted out. And now we can do stuff like that down at the rink more often, which is great. And you're going to see more of Reed and I doing some stuff with the Oilers players and other media and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's just another wrinkle that we can throw in there, and it works out really nice.
Yeah, 100%. Why not?
All right, we're going to wrap up. We're going to have some final thoughts from Hernan and I. 16 games in the NHL tonight. Let's just get you up to speed really quickly. We've got a bunch of finals. Washington 4-1 over Philly. Minnesota leads Florida 5-1. 4 minutes left in the third there. That game in Florida. Paul Maurice getting a new contract extension today. How to celebrate that one with a loss. Ouch. Oilers fans won't be feeling sorry for Maurice at all. Tampa leads New Jersey 6-2. Buffalo up 2-0 on Dallas early in the third. The Habs trailing the Rangers 5-2 late in the second. Columbus up 4-0 on the Leafs midway through that game. Detroit up 1-0 on Long Island. That game 5 minutes into the second period. St. Louis up 1-0 on Winnipeg after one. Chicago trails Vancouver 3-2. 6 minutes left in the first. No score yet in Seattle as the Avs visit the Kraken. Donuts on the board as the Bruins and Preds are just underway. We've got the Oilers and the Canes coming up. You've got Utah hosting Ottawa. Calgary hosts Pittsburgh. Anaheim gets San Jose. And the night ends, oh my goodness, with a 9 o'clock start our time. Vegas hosting the LA Kings.
It's ridiculous, man.
They're calling it the Frozen Frenzy. All right, Nan. So final thoughts from you going into this one.
Yeah, Oilers, if they can have a start like they did in Dallas, I think they'll be fine. They need some key saves from Stuart Skinner. I brought it up on Monday. I brought it up today. Like, hey, listen, I know Stuart Skinner sometimes gets hung out to dry, but the great goaltenders make tough saves, and you need more tough saves from Stewie Skins. And either the power play, PK, or both, Tom, in this case, need to get going and stick with Draisaitl, Arvidsson, and Skinner for the full 60 minutes. Please, Mr. Knobloch. And, yeah, it's going to be a fun one. Carolina's always a tough opponent, and I'm excited to watch this one, Tommy.
Oilers went 1-1 against the Canes last year, and both teams winning on home ice. We'll see how it goes tonight. You've got, like Hernan mentioned, Draisaitl between Jeff Skinner and Victor Arvidsson, McDavid with Nugent Hopkins and Hyman, and then Janmark with Derek Ryan and Connor Brown, Adam Henrique centering Podkolzin and Corey Perry on defense. It is Ekholm with Bouchard, Dermott on the left, Nurse on the right, and then on the third pair, Kulak on the left and Troy Stetcher on the right. Your goaltenders for this one, Stu Skinner for the Oilers and Freddie Anderson for the Carolina Hurricanes. A big thank you to Hannah Yates from the FanDuel Sports Network for joining us on the pregame show. And for Matt Cassian and Hernan Salas, I'm Tom Gazzola saying thanks for watching. Thank you for listening. We appreciate it as always. Enjoy the Oilers and the Hurricanes. We'll catch you on the postgame show. Maddie, Hernan, and Reed Wilkins will join myself. Ciao for now.